Deep within the bowels of the earth lies a secret that has captivated the world for over a century. It is a mystery that has endured the test of time, defying rational explanation and leaving scientists baffled. Could there be more to this legendary tomb than meets the eye? Is there a secret passage? Or perhaps a hidden chamber waiting to be discovered? Join us as we delve into the enigma of Tutankhamun's tomb and explore the shocking revelation that threatens to turn our understanding of ancient Egypt on its head. The year was 1922 when the world was thrown into a frenzy of excitement. A British archaeologist named Howard Carter had just discovered the tomb of the infamous boy King Tutankhamun. The discovery sent shockwaves across the globe, and for good reason. What Carter found was nothing short of astonishing. The tomb was filled to the brim with treasures beyond imagination. There were chariots, weapons, and ornaments made of pure gold, as well as over 50 sealed sarcophagi filled with offerings for the young pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. But it wasn't just the riches that made this discovery so remarkable. It was the intricate design and layout of the tomb itself. As Carter and his team delved deeper into the burial chamber, they uncovered an elaborate series of tunnels and chambers, each more mesmerizing than the last. They found that the walls were adorned with vivid paintings depicting scenes from Egyptian mythology and the young king's life. It was as if the entire tomb was a portal into another world, a world where pharaohs ruled and gods roamed freely. But amidst all this wonder and beauty, there was a lurking sense of eerie. The tomb was filled with traps and obstacles, as if the ancient Egyptians were determined to protect their pharaoh's final resting place at all costs. Nevertheless, Carter and his team persevered, driven by their thirst for knowledge and the promise of uncovering secrets that had lain dormant for centuries. What they found was truly breathtaking. In the innermost sanctum of the tomb, they discovered the mummified remains of Tutankhamun himself, lying in a golden sarcophagus. The sight was both awe-inspiring and heartbreaking, a reminder of the fragility of life and the relentless march of time. As the news of the discovery spread like wildfire, people from all over the world flocked to see the tomb for themselves. Among them were renowned Egyptologists and curious tourists alike, all eager to witness the splendor of this once-in-a-lifetime find. However, as the years passed, the initial wonder and excitement began to fade, replaced by a growing unease. For many, the tomb had become just another tourist attraction, a mere footnote in the annals of history. Yet for others, the story of Tutankhamun's tomb was far from over. There were those who believed that there was more to the discovery than met the eye, a secret that had been lost to time but was waiting to be unearthed. One such person was Nicholas Reeves, a British Egyptologist who had dedicated his life to studying ancient Egypt. He had examined every inch of the tomb, poring over the hieroglyphics and scrutinizing the paintings on the walls, and he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. He noticed that some of the paintings depicted scenes that seemed out of place, as if they didn't belong in the tomb of a young pharaoh. For example, there were images of adult pharaohs engaged in activities that were typically reserved for the afterlife, such as sailing in the presence of gods. These anomalies sparked his curiosity and set him on a quest to uncover the truth. With the help of modern technology, Reeves and his team were able to delve deeper into the mysteries of the tomb. They used ground-penetrating radar to scan the walls and floor, hoping to find any hidden cavities or chambers. Their efforts paid off when they discovered a strange anomaly behind the north wall of the tomb. It was a small, dark space that was not visible to the naked eye, but showed up clearly on the radar images. Could this be a secret chamber? The idea was exciting, but also daunting. If it was a chamber, how could they access it without causing damage to the tomb? They knew that the slightest misstep could have disastrous consequences, not only for the integrity of the tomb, but also for their own safety. Despite the risks, Reeves and his team were determined to find out the truth. They developed a plan that involved drilling a small hole into the wall and inserting a camera to take a look inside. It was a risky move, but it was the only way they could think of to get a glimpse inside the mysterious space without causing any damage. With bated breath, they watched as the camera slowly moved forward, inch by inch, revealing what lay behind the wall. It was a sight that would change everything. The camera revealed a large, empty chamber, one that was larger than the burial chamber itself. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community and the world at large. People from all over the globe were eager to learn more about the hidden chamber and what it might contain. Some speculated that it was a secret passageway leading to another part of the complex, while others believed it could be a hidden vault containing priceless artifacts. But as time went on, the excitement began to die down, and the chamber became nothing more than a footnote in the history books. That was until recently, when interest in the tomb of Tutankhamun was This time, however, it was for a much darker reason. A group of paranormal investigators claimed that the hidden chamber was actually a portal to the underworld. They believed that Tutankhamun had used the chamber to perform dark rituals and communicate with the dead. According to their theories, the boy king was obsessed with death and the afterlife, and he went to great lengths to ensure that he would have a smooth transition. When it was his time to go, they claimed that the paintings in the tomb were not just decorative, but actually served as a guide for the pharaoh's soul. As it made its way through the underworld, the idea was fascinating, but also terrifying. It painted a picture of a young king consumed by his own mortality, and willing to do anything to ensure his place in the afterlife. However, these claims were met with skepticism from the mainstream archaeological community. Many dismissed them as the ramblings of overzealous amateurs with no real understanding of ancient Egyptian culture and beliefs. Yet despite the criticism, the paranormal investigators persisted, convinced that they were onto something big. They continued to study the tomb and the hidden chamber, searching for any evidence to support their claims. And it was during one of these investigations that they stumbled upon something truly shocking. They discovered traces of human remains in the chamber, suggesting that it may have been used for more than just storage. Could this be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the tomb? The discovery of the human remains sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It raised more questions than it answered and left researchers scrambling to find answers. Was this a burial chamber after all? And if so, whose remains had been found there? Was it possible that the hidden chamber was connected to the mummified remains of Tutankhamun in the main chamber? Or was it a separate burial site altogether? The possibilities were endless. But one thing was clear. This was no ordinary discovery. As the world waited with bated breath for answers, a team of researchers from the University of Vienna stepped forward. Using advanced imaging technologies, they were able to analyze the remains and determine their identity. The results were surprising. The remains belonged to a young woman who was not a member of the royal family. But here's the twist. She was still an important figure in Egyptian society. She was a priestess who had served in the Temple of Karnak, one of the most important religious centers in ancient Egypt. The discovery raised more questions than it answered. Why would a priestess be buried in a secret chamber in the tomb of a pharaoh? Was she a close confidant of Tutankhamun? Or did she hold some other kind of power in his life? The researchers were determined to find out. They delved deeper into the history of the priestess, uncovering a fascinating tale that shed new light on ancient Egyptian burial practices and beliefs. They discovered that the priestess had played a vital role in the funeral rites and rituals surrounding the death and burial of Tut. She had been chosen for her purity and piety, and her presence in the tomb suggested that she had been entombed with the pharaoh. According to ancient Egyptian customs, this discovery led to a re-evaluation of our understanding of ancient Egyptian burial practices and beliefs. It showed that the pharaoh's tombs were not just places of treasure and grandeur, but also sacred spaces where rituals and ceremonies were performed to ensure the safe passage of the soul into the afterlife. The investigation into the tomb of Tutankhamun is far from over. Researchers are still working to uncover all of its secrets, and the hidden chamber remains a source of fascination and intrigue. Who knows what other discoveries await us in the bowels of the earth? As we continue to explore the mysteries of ancient Egypt, one thing is clear: the legacy of Tutankhamun will live on for centuries to come.